Hi everyone, welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to make edible cookie moss. It looks so realistic and amazing, you'll love it, it's so easy. Let's get right into it. So what you'll need today is some graham cracker crumbs, some leaf green gel color, some green flood icing, a paintbrush, and some clear alcohol. I'm using Everclear, but you can also use vodka if you'd like. And of course the cookies that you want to cover with your moss. Here I've got some spring and Easter themed cookies that'll look great with some moss on it. So first things first, you want to dump your crumbs into a nice big freezer bag. I've got one of the Ziploc bags here. It gives me lots of space to work with and it's nice and thick. And then we're going to take our gel color. You can use whichever color you'd like. My preferred color for this is leaf green. It's a nice bright green, but really you can mix colors or you can choose a different color if you want, or you can go crazy and, do yellow moss or orange moss, whatever you'd like. It really works with anything. So I put about a teaspoon of gel color in here. I've got a lot of crumbs in my bag, but I want to start with a little bit of color just to see how much it's going to take. It's always easier to add more than to try and take away. So what I'm just trying to do here is mix up the crumbs with that color. Because it's a gel color, it's a little bit thicker and it doesn't take quite well to the crumbs. So you can see it's sticking to the side of the bag. So I'm just trying to work the bag and work that color into the crumbs. I'm just rubbing the crumbs between my hands here against the side of the bag to try and get as much of that color. So it's not spreading too well because this is gel color. So what we need to do is add a little bit of alcohol here. So I'm just going to put about a teaspoon or two, and that will help spread out the gel color a lot more. So you'll see how the color starts to change as we get those crumbs mixed up in there. So keep rubbing them between your fingers, trying to get all that gel color off the side so it can mix into the crumbs, and you can see it's already starting to change a little bit. You don't want to put too much liquid because you don't want your crumbs soaking wet, so they're still kind of dry. You can see they're not clumping together or anything. And I'm starting to get a nice light green hue. Always make sure when you're closing your bag to squeeze out the air so that it's easier for you to mix them up. If you have too much air in your bag, you won't be able to squish the bag properly. And then you won't be able to mix them in nice and rub them between and get all that color. So you can see here it's a nice light green. And if this is what you're going for, great. You're pretty much done and you can go ahead and use them. But I'm going for a little bit of a brighter green, a stronger color. So I'll show you that when you add a little bit more gel color, what it turns out to be. So it's still a little bit too light for me, so I'm going to put a little bit more gel and a touch more alcohol as well, just to spread that gel color around. And then just keep rubbing them between your fingers to make sure that you get a nice even coat. Again, the gel tends to stick to the side of the bag, so make sure that you rub those crumbs against the side to get all that gel in there. I'm using graham cracker crumbs, but you can really use any kind of cookie crumbs you want. It's really your preference. So once we get the color that we like, I'm going to pour these into a bowl. I've got a bowl here with a nice wide opening. It'll make it easier to dip my cookies. So I'm just going to spread them out here. What I'm going to do is grab my first cookie and I'm just going to get some flood icing on here. Doesn't matter what it looks like because we're going to use our paintbrush to spread it out. I just want to make sure that I have a nice layer of icing on here because I want the crumbs to stick to this icing. So I just put a bunch of, squiggly lines on here and I'm going to paint all the icing to the edges. And there you go, there's the bunny head. And let's say you have some, turns or grooves that the crumbs, the icing sort of spread out here. I'm just going with my scribe and getting in all the corners and just cleaning the edges up. And you'll get your nice sharp looking edges and cookies. The one thing to remember that if you will be putting decorations or some kind of icing or something on top of the crumbs, You want to remember that because it is cookie crumbs, the icing won't stick that well. So if you have a looser icing, it's okay, it'll stick great to the crumbs. If you have a really thick icing, sometimes it doesn't attach to the cookie that well. So I piped this little flour that I'm going to add. I pre-piped it and I let it dry. I find it easier sometimes than to pipe it directly onto the cookie, especially with the moss, that it doesn't stick too well. If you need a flour tutorial, I have a great one on my channel that I'll link below in the description under the video. And this one here, I'm just doing a flour. It's a bigger one so it sticks well, but these smaller ones, I tried doing it as you can see, and they're not sticking to the moss, no matter how much I kind of push down. So again, I took some that I had already done previously just in case, and I just attach them with a little bit of icing. And here with the butterfly, you can see I'm trying to push and almost scrape my tip against the edge of the cookie so that the icing does stay on there. All I'm doing here is just piping a line over itself. Basically, I just want to build up the nest part so that it will hold the chocolate mini eggs. And so keep going until you find that it's enough that it'll hold all those eggs in there. And once it's dry, you can add your eggs to the cookie and it looks amazing. And I thought this one would be fun to do. I always like these kind of cookies. I think they're fun for kids and adults, of course. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the Cookie Moss tutorial. I hope you guys get a chance to use it, and let me know how it goes in the comments below. Happy baking!